Okay. Have you ever been, like, driving totally zoned out, and then
Yeah.
you snap back and realize you're replaying some conversation from last Tuesday?
Oh, absolutely.
And not just replaying it, you're actually editing it, right? Thinking of all the clever things you should have said.
Or worrying about every single tiny thing that could go wrong at some event that's, months away.
Exactly. That constant mental noise, that loop.
That's what we're diving into today. That thinking that stops being helpful
Yeah.
and, well, it becomes kind of toxic. Our sources call it overthinking.
It really feels like a silent trap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially for our generation.
It really does. And our mission here is to look at the psychology behind it. How does analysis turn into mental poison, as the research puts it?
And crucially, how do we find some peace? We need actionable strategies.
Definitely. But first, let's get clear on what we mean by overthinking. It's not just deep thought, right?
No, not productive problem solving.
Exactly. Overthinking is when you analyze something so much for so long that you just get stuck.
Parallel.
Yeah, paralyzed. You circle the problem over and over, but you don't actually move forward. All you do is ramp up the stress and anxiety.
Like spinning your wheels in the mud.
Precisely. The engine's roaring, but you're going nowhere.
So, to really show how big this issue is, let's talk scale. The numbers our sources mention are kind of mind-blowing.
They really are. Think about this. The average person has something like 60,000 thoughts a day.
60,000! That's just constant background noise.
It is. But here's the kicker, the part that really makes you pause.
Okay.
Studies suggest that a shocking 80% of those thoughts, they're negative
80%, wow.
and repetitive. Mostly negative and repetitive.
That math is pretty brutal when you think about it.
It really is. Consider what that means for your day-to-day experience. If 4 out of 5 thoughts are about, regrets or worries or self-criticism.
Then most of our suffering isn't actually coming from outside events.
Exactly. It's not the world doing it to us. It's the activity, the sheer churn of our own minds.
So our biggest daily fight isn't traffic or deadlines. It's internal.
Pretty much. It's happening inside our heads, driven by these relentless negative loops. That self-inflicted aspect is a really key insight from the sources.
Okay, all right, so let's unpack this then. If we know it causes stress, if it doesn't solve anything, and frankly just makes us miserable, why do we do it? Why is it such a default?
Well, psychologically, it actually serves a function, even if it's a maladaptive one. It all kind of circles back to this deep human need, this almost desperate attempt to find control.
Control.
Yeah, control. We overthink because we're subconsciously trying to manage things that are, well, fundamentally uncontrollable, stuff that already happened, or stuff way off in the future.
So we're trying to build this fortress of certainty, but life is inherently uncertain. What are the main psychological drivers fueling this? The sources mentioned 4, right?
Yes, 4 core drivers. They're like these powerful mental traps we fall into. First, there's the straightforward fear of failure. That loop of, what if I mess up? What if I look stupid? What will people think? You replay it endlessly, trying to kind of pre-solve any potential rejection.
Trying to think your way out of embarrassment before you even start.
Exactly. Second, you have past regrets. This is like doom scrolling through your own life's history.
Oof.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that differently, or if only I hadn't said that. It's history. We can't change it, but we spend hours mentally editing it.
And the flip side of that is worrying about the future.
Precisely. The third trap, future anxiety. This is the mind running these complex what-if scenarios, almost always worst case.
What if everything goes wrong tomorrow or next week or, yeah.
Trying to predict and prevent pain that hasn't even happened yet and probably won't.
And what's underlying all 3 of those?
The fourth driver, the current running underneath, low self-confidence, that nagging inner voice asking, am I actually good enough to handle this?
Ah, okay.
The less confident you feel, the more your mind insists it has to prepare for every single possibility, however remote.
So that's the core tension, right? We pour all this mental energy into controlling everything, past, future, what others think. But the reality is we control very little externally. Our imagination, fueled by that fear, takes over.
And that imagination becomes the engine driving the overthinking.
Right.
It feels like you're being productive, but it's actually self-defeating.
Let's talk about the damage, the real-world consequences. Because this isn't just feeling a bit stressed, it actually messes with our lives.
Oh, the consequences are significant and they build up. Sleep loss is a big one, obviously.
Right.
The mind just won't switch off.
Yeah, lying awake at 3 a.m.
Totally. Then there's this inability to focus on what's right in front of you. Your attention is just fractured.
And making decisions. Forget about it.
Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You've analyzed every option into dust. You're just stuck paralyzed at the starting line.
That's where the sources use that really powerful, almost tragic metaphor.
Yeah.
You're physically present, maybe sitting with people you care about, but mentally, you're trapped. Your own brain becomes your prison.
That captures the feeling so well. And psychologically, the reason we tolerate this, the reason we stay in that prison, goes back to what we touched on earlier. Overthinking is, at its root, a defense mechanism.
A defense mechanism. But it hurts us.
Yeah.
What's it defending against?
It's the mind's sort of clumsy way of avoiding a deeper, more painful truth, or maybe just an unacceptable level of uncertainty.
How so?
Instead of facing the grief of a past mistake or the real uncertainty of the future, the mind just keeps thinking about it. It tries to solve what can't actually be solved that way.
So if I'm obsessing about a conversation I had, I'm not really solving anything about that conversation. I'm just avoiding the difficult feeling that, it's over and I can't change it.
Precisely. The rumination gives you this fleeting sense of doing something like you're working on the problem, but it's temporary comfort.
And the long-term cost
is huge. Chronic stress, anxiety, eventually just complete burnout. And realizing this points us toward the only real way out psychologically. Shifting the mind from thinking mode to doing mode. Moving from analysis paralysis to actual action. We have to break that illusion that thinking is safe and acting is risky.
Okay, this is where it gets really practical for everyone listening.
Yeah.
If the solution is shifting from thinking to doing, what are the specific strategies? How do we actually make that shift? We need the escape plan from the mental prison.
Right. We've got 5 really concrete techniques from the sources. These are all about interrupting that loop and basically retraining your brain's default response, creating some distance.
Okay, let's get into them. The first one sounds almost too simple. Name the thought.
It does sound simple, but it's surprisingly powerful. When the loop starts, you don't fight it. You don't try to push it away. That often backfires.
Right.
Instead, you step back and label it. You literally say to yourself, okay, this is my overthinking pattern again, or that's just rumination. Just naming it takes away some of its power. It turns it from this overwhelming reality into just a pattern you can observe. You start to control it instead of it controlling you.
I can see how that creates a little space, a pause. Okay, technique number 2 is about getting it out of your head. Write it down.
Yes. Inside your head, worries feel huge and shapeless, like this big cloud of anxiety.
Totally overwhelming.
Exactly. But when you force yourself to actually write down the specific worries, the fears, the what-ifs on paper, they become concrete, finite, external.
Things you can actually look at.
Yes. You can look at them, maybe organize them, see them for what they are, and importantly, you can then sort of declare them handled for now because they're out of your head and onto the page.
Okay, that makes sense. The third strategy gets right to the core shift. Action over analysis.
This is key. It means letting go of the need for the perfect plan. Overthinking convinces you that you need absolute certainty before you can move.
Which never comes.
Never. The solution. Take one small action. Anything. Send that email you've been agonizing over. Make one quick phone call.
Even if it's tiny.
Especially if it's tiny. That little bit of movement is way more powerful than hours more thinking. Motion creates momentum, and momentum breaks the loop.
Right. Okay, number 4 is clever. It kind of uses the brain's own structure against the worry. Schedule worry time.
It's a great containment strategy. Instead of letting worries just run rampant all day.
Yeah, hijacking your focus constantly.
Exactly. You designate a specific short time slot, say 10 minutes every day at 5 p.m., purely for worrying or analyzing.
Okay.
Then, if a worry pops up outside that window, you consciously tell your brain, nope, not now. We have scheduled time for this later. You acknowledge the thought, so you're not suppressing it, but you defer the deep dive.
That allows you to get back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
That sounds hard to enforce, though, the not now part.
It is hard, especially at first. It takes real practice. But brains actually like routine. If you consistently defer the worry to its scheduled time, you start to train your mind that it can wait.
Interesting. Okay, and the final strategy. This feels like the ultimate anchor. Practice mindfulness.
It really is. Overthinking, fundamentally, is a failure to be present, isn't it?
Yeah, you're either lost in the past or rehearsing the future.
Exactly. Mindfulness is the practice of training your attention to anchor right here, right now, to the actual sensations, sounds, the reality of this present moment.
Focusing on your breath or the feeling of your feet on the floor, that kind of thing.
Yes, by practicing being present, even just for short bits throughout the day, you slowly weaken the pull of those past regrets and future fears. You're choosing to live here, not in the loops your mind creates.
So bringing it all together, what's the big takeaway for someone listening right now who feels caught in these loops?
I think the most hopeful message from all these sources is this. Overthinking isn't some kind of permanent condition you're stuck with. It's not a disease.
It's a habit.
It's a habit, a really ingrained, often destructive habit of overanalysis, but still just a habit.
And habits can be changed.
They absolutely can be broken and replaced. The key is shifting your perspective. You don't have to control every single external thing that's impossible and exhausting.
Right.
Your real power lies in controlling your reaction to things. Choosing action, choosing presence, over getting stuck in that paralysis.
Thinking itself is obviously good, right? That's how we solve problems, create things.
Of course, constructive analysis is vital.
But when that thinking stops you from actually living your life, when it turns your own mind against you, that's when it becomes the trap.
That's the critical distinction. Analysis versus rumination.
Absolutely. So maybe the thought to leave everyone with this week is this. The next time your mind starts that loop, you feel that familiar pull towards dissecting the past or dreading the future. Can you catch yourself? Can you identify just one small action you could take right then to pause it? To just say enough and deliberately shift yourself back into this moment, the one you're actually living.
That small shift, that conscious choice.
That's where the peace starts. That's where you find the escape hatch from the prison.